In this video, we want to implement the login and logoff functionality. So let me stop the application and we'll go to our account controller where we have login get action method. Here, let me copy this and paste it one more time. We will be adding HTTP post, validate anti-forgery token, and then what will be the model. With login, we have login view model, so let's get that. It will provide us with the username and password. Then if we go to our register, we are already signing in the new user. So we will be using the same sign-in functionality, but before that we need to check if the password is valid or not. Now we already have client-side validation to make sure that they enter both username and password. But it's always good to add server-side validation, so we'll say model state.isValid. Only if they are valid, we will say variable result is equal to await. When we use await, we have to use async and task. So we'll use async and task with the iAction result, and we'll be using the sign-in manager. In there we have another helper method, which is password sign-in async. This actually has two overloads. It expects a username, password, and is persistent. So the username is inside model.email, password is model.password, and is persistent. We have inside model.rememberme. So that will return whether the login was successful with that password for this particular user. Now with this overload, it expects one more parameter, which is lockout on failure. We'll make this as false for now. So we will check here if the result is succeeded. If the result is successful, we want to return redirect to action. We want to go to the index action of the home controller for now. If the result is not successful, we need to display the error message. So in order to do that, we can add that to modal state.add modal error, and what we want to add is invalid login attempt. So with that, when we return back to the view, let's return back the modal. Then we need to replicate the same logic in register post as well. What we want to do is if there are any errors, we want to add them to our modal state and pass them on to the view. Now in login, we want to display just a generic message. We do not want to specify whether the username was invalid or password. But in case of register, we want to be specific, because if an email is duplicate, we want to show the user exact error message, or else it will be confusing. So that we can retrieve from this identity result object right here. We have to iterate through a for each loop, so we'll say variable error in result.errors. For each and every error, we will be adding that to our model state. So model state.add model error, we will be adding error.description. And when we return back to the view, we will be passing our model. This looks good for error checking inside register and sign in. But we also have to implement the logoff functionality. So right here, let me create an HTTP post. It will be public async task of iAction result. I will call this as logoff. What we have to do is we just need to await the sign-in manager. In there, we have the sign-in. That will log off the user. And once that is done, let's redirect them to the home page. So redirect to action. Rather, let me just redirect them to the login page. So login inside the account controller. Now it's time to see everything in action. Let me do that in the next video.